accepted, is to look into the sudden increase in the popularity of nerd culture. Coordinates for the destination will be sent to you via text. This message will self-destruct in 10 seconds.
Today's world is ever-changing, and so are its people. We constantly change to fit the new fads and discover what's cool and what's not. In the past few years, there has been an influx of interest in today's nerd culture. My name's Jordan Clevenger, and yes, I'm a nerd. My mission is to find out about this massive change and its effects on nerd culture as a whole. To do this, I turn to the experts at the destination to help in my search for knowledge about this current growing demographic.
Mitch Harmon, comic book connoisseur.
I am Brian Barrow. I am the owner of the destination.
I'm Evan Pack, and I am one of the co-owners as well.
We're co-owners. All right, fine, we're co-owners. I could have said it like that, I guess.
You could have, but you didn't.
I'm sorry.
Trust me, they're experts.
That sounds awful. Yeah, I mean, it's a broad spectrum nowadays. Back in the day, it was literally if you were a D&D or a Star Trek fan, that was nerd culture. But nowadays, underneath the umbrella of nerd culture would be anything sci-fi, Star Wars, Star Trek, Firefly, or anything gaming-wise, D&D, Dice Masters, or what have you. Video games fall into that category. Of course, comic books, I would argue as well. Superheroes. And like I said, the spectrum of it all is just so vast nowadays.
I love that you again walk almost anywhere. Any store has something that you could label as nerd culture. I as we both have t-shirts on, I have like 100 different t-shirts. So every single day, I'm wearing something that would be labeled as nerd culture. But it's a sense of pride. The culture is booming. I mean, it's people who once weren't fans of comic books are now becoming fans of the stuff. And then the closet nerds, they're finally coming out of the woodwork as well. So, I mean, it's doing well. It helps with the movies, the TV shows, and all that stuff. But I would say that it's definitely cool to be a nerd nowadays. I like that it's more acceptable to become a nerd. I'm almost slightly bitter, to be honest with you, because I dealt with all the backlash when I was a kid, and now it's cool. But it's like the people will wear a shirt,
Ironically?
Well, not ironically, or just wear a shirt. I mean, I guess I don't want to necessarily be as judgmental as they were in my childhood.
No, I mean, I can see the bitterness. I have people that bullied me in school that come in here and shop now, and they're all about I love this culture, and I'm like, because
I guess stuffed in the locker.
But back in school, you really didn't get into it that much.
Whenever there's an artificial boost, that's when there will be a pop in the bubble. But I don't see this as an artificial boost. I see this as genuine interest from people. So as long as the interest is natural and it's not artificially propped up by other people or individuals like that sort, I don't think this is going to slow down. The only time I could see it is if they start deviating too far away from what the comics were. I mean, naturally, it's hard to translate 70 plus years of Batman into 3 movies, into a trilogy. So you got to leave things out and stuff like that. But ultimately, what you have is, you have a fandom based around this character who has survived the test of time, decades. As long as there's a slight bit of interest in it, I don't think it's going to go away. I don't think there's necessarily a bubble that's going to burst, unlike what happened in the 90s with comics. I think now there's too many things supporting now certain aspects. There could be a bubble in certain types of
action figures or things like that. I think comics have learned their lesson of what not to do and to treat it as an art form and not just a cash grab, even though a lot of cash grab.
But I do believe the question was all nerd culture. So like you just said, there's all these mini bubbles that might burst at some point.
But I don't think it's not going to bring down the entire.
No, the overall thing, it's too much money in it. You know, and I don't see the money ever leaving it.
I would argue nowadays more so than ever, there's a comic out there for everybody. And the only reason I'm sticking by that is because my buddy, his mom is like, she's very old school. And I told her that one time, and she's like, you'll never find a comic for me. And I found 3 so far for her.
I can relate anything back to a comic book. If they say I like horror movies, I would say, well, you would love Lock and Key.
Yeah.
Like I can relate anything back to a story, because here's the thing, comics and nerd culture span all genres.
Mm-hmm.
They span, you like something or you will like something because it's love stories.
Sure.
Horror, superhero, you know, like it spans everything, dramas, everything.
You heard it from the experts. Our world is changing, and the lines between cool and nerd culture are beginning to blur. So the next time you see a comic book store, don't be so quick to judge, because there may be an amazing adventure waiting for you behind one of those cover pages.